coverage of the general elections in Liberia with a team of producers, a network of correspondents across Liberia, election analysts and observers. We will bring you live happenings minute by minute on election day. Don't miss Liberia Decides on Tuesday, October 10, 2023 from 7 a.m. on West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM Dakar and online at WADR.org. Liberia Decides. WADR covers. This is the live coverage of the general elections in Liberia. Liberia Decides 2023.
Good evening and many thanks for staying with us. Welcome to a historic broadcast event on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM in Dakar, Senegal. This is the 5th edition of Liberia Decides 2023. As the sun sets on this momentous day in Liberia, we find ourselves at the heart of a pivotal democratic exercise. Today, the people of Liberia have exercised their right to vote. And as the polling stations close and the counting of ballots begins, we stand ready to bring you unparalleled coverage of this significant event. Throughout the course of this broadcast, we will connect with our correspondents stationed across the length and breadth of Liberia, providing you with real-time updates on ground perspectives and first-hand accounts from the heart of the action. We will also open the lines to live calls with experts, analysts, and citizens, fostering a dialogue that captures the essence of this democratic journey. Our studio will play host to esteemed guests who will delve into the complexities of Liberia's political landscape, offering insights and analysis as we witness the unfolding events. Join us on this exciting journey as we watch democracy in action, and together we explore the implications of Liberia Decides 2023. Alright, so as a reminder, polls closed by 6 p.m., but the National Elections Commission, NEC, says voters on the queue will be allowed to exercise their right. For the voters, the process was smooth but slow, and hope their votes count. The electoral umpire is opening its media center for updates on minute by minute on counting and collation of results. Davidetta Brown Lasana is chairperson of the Liberia Elections Commission.
There are a couple of noteworthy challenges, specifically in the southeastern counties of Sino and Rivers. Due to the heavy downpour of rain for the past 5 days, the Planson River in Sino County, which is located on the outskirts of Greenville, overflowed its banks and crossed the main road leading to most of the centers in District 2 of Sino County. All efforts by the NEC staff to cross the river from both sides have proven futile so far. Also, the truck carrying electoral materials to District 1 in Sino County got stuck in the mud in the Buto area, also due to the heavy downpour of rain and bad road. The election magistrate has arranged a fleet of motorcycles to convey the materials last night, the 9th of October, but were also challenged due to bad road, leading to late start of polls in that area.
Davidetta Brown Lasana is chairperson of the Liberia Elections Commission. Meanwhile, the chief observer of the European Union Election Observation Mission in Liberia, Andrea Shida, has provided an initial assessment of the ongoing presidential and legislative elections in the country. In his initial remarks, the EU chief observer named overcrowding at some polling stations, as well as the late opening of some centers, as issues they observed during the day of voting.
So far, so good. There is an impressive turnout, and the first polling unit we went to, we observed the commencement, and it appears that all is well. We hope that from what we are seeing in terms of the discipline of voters on the queue, and also the diligence of the polling station officials, it promises to be a good, transparent process, and we will, throughout the day, go around other polling units, and we hope that what we see will be consistent in all the other polling units, because what we have seen is impressive, and certainly will augur well if it is sustained. So far, the reports we have received indicate that things are going on smoothly, and obviously that's what we all hope in an election environment, to have a good commencement, a peaceful commencement, an orderly process, and to have it sustained throughout the day. So we look forward to going around other polling stations throughout Monrovia, and we will keep receiving reports from our observers deployed all over the country. And so far so good, and we hope that this is a good, very good omen.
Andre Shida is the chief observer of the European Union Election Observation Mission in Liberia. If you're just tuning in, this is West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM, broadcasting from the Senegalese capital, Dakar, and it is the 5th edition of Liberia Decides. I have with me in the studios now Terence Trier. He is the Vice President of the Association of Liberian Community in Senegal. He is here to discuss some unfolding event in the country. Hello, thank you for joining us, Terence.
Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it.
Right. So, as a Liberian, how do you feel at this moment where the elections has been conducted, even though the polls have closed, but the Electoral Commissioner has given a statement regarding extending the time for those who are already in the queue? And looking at all the events that have unfolded in the country prior to today's event and what is happening right now, how do you feel as a Liberian?
It is always part of our culture, and we have to respect the view and the right of our people. So when she is standing the time on behalf of all Liberians who is on the queue, it is very important to exercise their right and to make their impact to our electoral process.
So looking at how the processes went, what would be your assessment?
From our perspective and from our electoral process, in Liberia, it is very, very difficult for the past 3 elections. It is very difficult for a presidential candidate to win the first round. Yeah, it is very difficult. I've not seen it since 2005 as a kid, and been observing our process. Because if you look at all the 20 political parties, you will notice that for one party to carry 51% is difficult. So definitely there will be a second round.
Wow. So as a diasporan, you have been excluded in today's exercise. How does that make you feel? Do you think, like now you are talking about a second round, do you think because of the exclusion of diasporans, that is why this is going to happen? Or you think even without the contribution or without the presence of the diasporans, it is still going to happen?
Uh, for the aspect of the diaspora, it is always important for all citizens to participate, in every electoral process and to exercise his or her right. But it is somehow difficult, especially for most countries in Africa, to pull technology and what have you. So it's somehow devastating. It's not too cool, but we still trust the process. We pray for our people in the process, and we pray for the best.
Right. So today's elections is really an important event where Liberia is deciding on who is going to govern them for the next for some years. Right. So, as a Liberian, I know definitely, even though you are in Senegal, you visit home and you know the situation, you know what is currently happening in terms of education, the economy, health, and what have you. What kind of change would you like to vote for? What kind of change would you like to see the people vote for today?
Liberia have been one of the proud of Africa, but due to our civil crisis, we have lost our value, and we trying to get back on path. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, our past president, she was trying her best to get things straight. At least to put one or two stuff in order for our country to move. But then when 2017 election come, and with the light of George Weah, and then our political landscape, everything tried to go somehow contrary, and then we see some things, I don't know how to say it, because when you look at Liberia and you see the crime rate, you see insecurity, you see a lot of things. Sometimes it hurt, especially in the diaspora where you got family back home, you got friends back home, and you always pray for the best. You come out to prepare yourself to go back home to help the society, but sometimes when you see things on the news, when you read and then you call back, you see things, it's not ready to go. So we pray for the best.
Right. Okay. So we'll come back to the studios, but now let's cross over to Monrovia. Our correspondent, Darlington Popper, is on standby. Hello, Darlington. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Hello, sir.
Right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Right. So what is the current situation in Monrovia or at the polling station where you are?
Yes, as we speak, some polling stations are about to start the counting process, like the Finsway Town Hall, outside Monrovia. I just left a few minutes ago. I drove there, and we observed that about 10 minutes after 6, the entire process was finished, because the last person in the queue was a lady who voted, and then they closed the entire process. There were a few Liberians who observed that these are people who have actually been waiting for the last minute. So when they went there, they were already late, so they could not allow them into the polling center to be able to vote. So because there are few people been turned away because they came late, actually late. So as I speak, they are sorting all the ballots. I just walk away from the area to have a clear area to speak with you. So right now, as I speak, they have opened the ballot boxes, and they are sorting all the ballot papers to categorize them before they start the official counting process. So before coming to this area, this center, I also visited OSIWA district, and this is one of the tense districts, a very, very tense indeed, politically charged. So I visited this center, we met a group of women who said they went to cast their ballots, but they were told by electoral workers there that they have already voted. According to some of them, they have not voted. They went there this morning because of the queue. It was very long, so they decided to go home, maybe, and come back in the evening. But indeed, they checked the roster. When they went through the voters' roll, they observed that these people already voted. But according to the insist that they did not vote, they had a voter's card. We also spoke to some of them. We observed their finger is not pink. So we honestly don't know whether the car has been duplicated. We spoke to one of the election observers. He said, apparently, maybe somebody tried to duplicate their card and then we want to vote on their behalf. So those are some few issues or minor issues they are actually observing as we speak. So the tension is actually building up in Montserrat district. And there is this specific candidate who is also contesting the district. He claimed that most of those who were denied voting, who they say initially they are already voted, are people he claimed that some of his supporters who have voted for him. So there is a bit of tension. We understand that the Liberia National Police is already on the scene trying to calm down the situation.
Right, so looking at all the pictures that you are painting, how is the atmosphere? Is everywhere calm, especially now that coalition is going to begin?
With the coalition process already on, honestly, Monrovia is actually very, very quiet as I speak to you. Very quiet indeed. This is very unusual. It's very quiet. People are just glued to the radio, listening to the radio, watching the Facebook pages, and what have you. So the Monrovia is actually quiet, especially with the coalition process ongoing. So hopefully by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, before 9 o'clock, we know that preliminary results, unofficial results will be coming to various media platforms because the electoral process is designed in a way that immediately after the polling center are closed and the voters, the coalition process of the ballots people are already sorted out, the counting process, the official result will be posted on the wall. So media institutions or journalists will go and start to read those figures, those raw data on their various platforms. So people will be listening to the radio to get those figures coming in. And in terms of some issues we talk about irregularities, I can confirm to you that 2 individuals were arrested in a single neighborhood who went and they succeeded in voting twice. We were there when the police intervened and arrested them. They handcuffed them and they took them to the National Police Headquarters for investigation. They succeeded in actually voting twice. One of the guys, he said he admitted, he said initially he went there very soon this morning and he voted earlier this morning and then he went home to use bleach to remove the ink from his hand, and then this afternoon he also went. So we tried to ask him, but he admitted that he has 2 voter registration cards. So he was one of the who actually maybe the deduplication process of the double registrant. I don't really know what happened. Apparently he was one of those who did not capture him in that process, the deduplication process, but he admitted that he voted twice. So they arrested him, and then they are currently now the Liberia National Police Headquarters on ongoing investigation.
Right. So, like you said, this is quite an unusual behavior of voters during elections for the environment to remain calm. So, what do you think warranted for this change?
Like the last election, 2017, we observed that immediately after the polls are closed, about 6:30, 7 o'clock, people were already in the streets jubilating at entertainment centers, enjoying themselves, because they knew that the person in which they have cast their ballot for is going to be the winner. But this election is too close to call, so we observe the two sides are watching critically almost all the social media. Every moment, they are either especially in the National Elections Commission Facebook page or the website. So it's actually quiet for now. People are just glued to their radio. And, you know, most of the political parties here, especially the bigger political parties, those main political parties, they have their own war room where they have the data that will be going in.
Okay.
They will do their own tabulation. They are currently doing their own tabulation because they have their
the voting process has started
at each of the polling centers.
as per
So once they get
the
the figures,
National
they will raw
Elections
data
Commission.
because they have their own tally centers too.
And so folks
They will
are
do their own tally process.
reporting.
They
Good
will
morning,
have
Yanni.
the data released to their own partisans or their own group of people while they are with the official pronouncements from the National Elections Commission. And the National Elections Commission said officially tomorrow in the morning, the tally process will start officially at the National Tally Center, and then the preliminary results will be announced tomorrow by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They will be able to give the first preliminary results of the polling of the election. So we are all watching keenly to see what will be the outcome of the vote. But many people here actually glued to their radio. Monrovia is actually, honestly, very, very quiet. And this is actually unusual. So we know the two sides are watching one another to see what will be unofficial results coming out.
Right. So we pray for a peaceful coalition since we had a peaceful voting process. The coalition too, we pray would be peaceful. But Darlington, do be on standby to give us any update that comes up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we keep moving to each, most of the centers here. We'll give you the update as it unfolds.
Right. It's the fifth edition of Liberia Decides live on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM, Dakar, Senegal. You can also listen to us all across the globe on WADR.org or download our mobile application on the Google Play Store at WADR Live. Terence, before we went on break, you were giving some analysis on the education sector, the economy, and the health sector in the country. But then, before we get back into it, you just heard the correspondence update on the election. One of the most significant, one of the most significant word he gave us now is about elections being different in the country, unlike it used to be. Why do you think that happened? Because of course you have been a voter, you've been voting, and after elections, people they don't go back home. They wait until the results are collated. But he said now things are different. Why do you think so?
Yeah, you see, for now, this election is a special election. This election, 2023 election in Liberia, is a special election. So no candidate, no single candidate is, in a driving seat. Everybody.
Not even the incumbent.
No, even the incumbent. Even the incumbent. He know how the process is like. You know how the process is like. So right now, everybody had to be focused until the results can start coming. Like I said previously, I said there is no single candidate can win a first round in Liberia election this 2023.
Wow. So okay, we've been joined by Dominic Nimley. He's the President Business Association of Liberia. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us.
Let me make a quick correction there. I'm the Chair on Trade and Commerce, Republic of Liberia, for all Liberian-owned businesses.
All right. Thank you for the
Chair on
correction,
Trade and
sir.
Commerce.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how is the atmosphere like? Have you casted? You have casted your ballot already, I believe.
Yeah, I exercise my right as a patriotic citizen, and the process is going on smoothly. I think Liberians are expressing their feelings, and it will be heard by the ballot box. It will be heard by the election commission when she reading the results. And we ask, especially we from the private sector, we ask that the results should be accepted, and Liberians should stay calm.
So, are you home observing from afar, or you are at the polling station where you voted to witness the coalition process?
Well, I was at the polling center. I left from there a couple of minutes ago. It's best to be with your family's home, and I'm monitoring from the radio.
Right. Yeah, so how would you describe today's event in all, looking at what happened in the morning till date?
Well, I saw a little bit poll turnout during the morning hour. As time go by, people start to come, people start to pull in, and I think it was going to be prudent enough for the election commission to give another 1 hour to allow more people to come, because people put in late than early on today. And there were some problems from the onset that the publicity that was given by election commission, it wasn't enough at all. The time was short. The publicity didn't reach the people, which of course I was called or nominated on an EU platform with the government representing the Liberian private sector, and I told them in that meeting that they need to come and make some logistics available for the Liberian Business Association, because nobody gave information in the private sector. for us to help in that process, but they failed. So the information really wasn't disseminated according to. In the election period, it's like a dual witness stuff from door to door. And we didn't have that during this election.
Right. So you are in the business sector. What would you want to see changed in the economy? So what did you vote for today?
We'll have a lot of things to be changed. It is only Liberian that can build Liberia, not foreign business person. If I was a foreign business person in Liberia, I will take the profits back to my country, which of course it keep happening in our country. Like the former president said that the business people put the money in the suitcases and take it out of Liberia. And I said to her that you gave the foreign businesses 75% purchase power, while you gave Liberian-owned businesses 25% purchase power, making Liberian to be spectators. So we are asking government to make us to be participant on the speed for us to be included in the march instead of being spectators. And doing this with this presidential and representative campaign, none of them came talking about the private sector. None of them measured from the opposition to the ruling party. None of them measured the private sector in the speeches that they gave, and that was sold out. But I came up with a press conference before 2 weeks to the election, and in that press conference, I said that we're going to give whosoever that win a 100-day ultimatum, and you will be remanded every 30 days, which is every month, until the 3 months can be over. If you cannot meet to right the wrongs in the private sector, especially to Liberian-owned businesses, because it's only Liberian that will build Liberia. It is only Liberian that will benefit or feed the pinch when it comes to something bad. Then you will have us to be met with. You have resistance after the 100 days. And I'm very much sure of that, and Liberians are waiting to defend that.
So what are some of the wrongs would you like to be corrected in the private sector?
One have to do with the 100% retailer rights. You cannot have foreigners in our country doing wholesale, retail, and supply. There is nothing being left for us. We are just standing on the fence watching. You cannot come to my country and say you are an investor and you go after my local bank loans. Investor is somebody who come with money to invest into the economy, not to go after my local bank loans. And we need a lot of things to be changed around here. In Liberia, for the past 100 years, to open a bank in Liberia is $10 million, which of course is a change. We need for those policies to be changed. We have companies in the country from the past regime up to present that don't take our national currency. We want all of those things to be changed.
Right.
A lot.
Right. So the rate of unemployment is high in the country. How do you think that can be addressed?
Okay, the rate of unemployment, I always told people that it's not from this government. That's why our former president refused for Omeo to leave the country, because during the past administration, which Manasedi was the president by then, you have Omeo in Liberia. Omeo kept our economy going. They were bringing in $52 million US to this country every month just for allowances. And they have more people employed than the government. So during that period, you didn't see people crying as today, because the private security was making $700 to $1,000. The driver was making $1,500, $1,500 to $2,000. The horse help were making $500 to $700 US. So government had the burden that it has today. I always told people that while it is true that government is in a lot of wrong to the Liberian private sector, that was what Manasedi doing. Manasedi turned a lot of crying or noise that you hear today. You didn't hear it yesterday, and that was the reason that Manasedi refused for Omeo to leave this country during her administration, to the extent when Omeo said to her that there is no wall in Liberia, we have to leave, and we don't have money to pay our staff. She offered 2 different times begging Omeo to steal that she would use money from government coverage to pay Omeo, because she knew that she was shielding herself beyond Omeo because of the money that Omeo was bringing into this country, which is $52 million every month. Is on the record.
So has your chamber or agency made any recommendation to the government before now?
Sorry?
Has your chamber or agency made recommendations to the government before now?
We have been making recommendations, government after government, but I guess it been falling on fertile soil because our problem in this country, I always say, is not president, it's the legislature, the upper house and the lower house, the representatives and the senators. They have the oversight, and those people we always elect, they always go there for their own selfish name, their own selfish desires. As I speak to you, most of them, their family don't live in the country. As I speak to you, most of them, their family, their children go to hospital in different countries. And those people are the problem we have in this country, not the president. I said it during past administration, during Manasadi regime, and I'm saying it today. And if anybody can do the due diligence corrected, those people are the problem. Like, for example, 52 concession agreement was signed during Manasadi regime. Only two or three met international standards because of those guys we call representatives and senators who represent the people. They have the oversight. They can even impeach the president. They have more power than president. So those guys are our problem.
Right. So, with the turnout of voters today, do you see a second round election?
Well, I would say yes and I would say no. I would say yes in the sense I don't know the result. Or no, I don't know the result. I would say yes if the result come up to none of favored in one person's side that you get the majority, it will have to go for second round. All we ask for as the private sector, we ask for peace, we ask for kindness, we ask that the process be guided to the fullest. Because we have taken bank loan with high interest rate, low payment, short payment term, and we are trying to get back on our feet. We don't want the little that we have to go back to scratch.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, Dominic.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so we are back in the studios, and Terence is still here with us. So, Terence, you were giving your assessment before we crossed over to speak with our correspondent, and then Dominic. You can continue with your assessment.
Yeah,
based on
like I was saying, I
over-
think you just listened to Dominic. I think you listened to his analysis and he dropped few important points. And some of the things I was saying, I think you listen to some you're saying too. It is possible for second round. You say that. We talk about the economy. He talk about that, and then there are a lot of things. A lot of things. You see. This election is a special election, as I keep saying. The 2023 election. Most Liberian eyes are open. People, think for themselves right now, especially the youth. The youth in Liberia, you see, like before, first the youth was on one party, but now everything is divided. So every political party in Liberia have a huge youth wing. So it is very, very tough election. So a first round victory for any political party in Liberia would be a little bit tough.
So, what affected that change that the Liberian youth are not stuck to one party, but their views are now divided?
You see, most people, most Liberian now, they change their mind, change their mentality. Yeah, most Liberian now, when people growing up, when they seeing things, going the wrong way, people are creative thinker, and they think for themselves and think for their future. When they see something wrong, and they have to stand for the rightful thing. They have to stand for the truth. Because if everybody keep making the same mistakes, definitely, even our born generation will not see anything profitable from Liberia. So the young people have to make that decision, and they have to make their choice. So people see most politicians come with fake and false promises. And then when they get into power, you don't see some of the things they talk about. That I think you just listening to I call him not Darren Tom, but
Yeah, Dominic.
Dominic. He talk about being spectator, Liberian being spectator within their own economy, in their own business sectors. So if you look at from which perspective you're speaking from, you will notice that there are Liberian businesses, yeah, but their profit, their employment rate of all of Liberian in the sector, you will see that they are all struggling business. So he talked on the broad scene, they are spectator within their own economy. So most of the narrative need to change.
So you were talking about the fact that some of these politicians go. Okay, so before we get to that, we have one of our correspondents online, Peter Coley from Lofa County. Hello, Peter. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Just like a heavy downpour of rain is currently in Gaza today. As you can see, the rain is falling.
So what is going on? What is the current situation at the coalition center, at the polling center that you are right now?
Okay, thank you. Currently, as we speak, we are at the Gaza market ground, the general market ground, and as according to the NDC election, voting is to end by 6 o'clock today. But those who are in the queue until 6 o'clock, they are currently casting their vote. And we went to Gaza Lutheran Mission High School, and the counting has already started at the Gaza Lutheran Mission High School, and then at the Gaza Central High School also went there. The counting also too have started there. So it's just the market building that is currently people are still casting their voting. And then we went to other nearby towns where we could not get the network because the network situation in those places are very bad. So we all talk to people, and then they give out their grievances. We spoke to one lady. She said it would be preferable for NEC to look at, because the distance they can cover from where they are to the voting place is too far, and there is no means of transportation for them to come from their town to that place. So she was calling on NEC to see how best in the next round of election to see how best they can put the station there. From there, we went to a town called Kaliman. Kaliman is a small town on the Zozo administrative district. We went there, but what happened there was the turnout there was huge, but only one polling center. So as we speak currently, we communicated with one of our correspondents there. We said voting is still ongoing because the number of people who came from nearby villages to come to that one polling center was too huge for them to finish sooner. So the voting is still going, and there are more than 50 people who are still in the queue, and people still coming because when we went there, the rain was falling, so people were still sitting. So as we speak, because we communicated with him there, he said there are people who are still in the queue, who are still in the queue waiting to cast their vote.
Right. So does that mean the rain is disrupting the flow of the process?
Yeah, the rain actually started around 3 today. We're waiting the forest, going to the next town, which is Kaliman. When the rain started falling, up to now, it is still falling. So some people who were still sitting, waiting for the evening hours to go and cast their vote, weren't able to go there in time because of the rain. But some people who were on the scene at that time, they are the ones right now because NEC have closed. So if you're not in the queue, by that time, they will not allow you to cast your vote. As a matter to get over.
So what will happen in this situation?
Well, we'll say maybe NEC has a 6 to 8. We'll have to call on NEC to see how best to see the issue. If those, because the mandate they gave to their staff was that those who will not be in the queue by 6 o'clock, they should now vote. That was the mandate. As we speak already in the market building, there are people who are still standing out, and the security guards who are on ground. They said those who will not be elected because they were not equipped by the time 6 o'clock reached, so they won't be able to participate in the voting process.
Wow. But I hope everything went peacefully, no casualties recorded.
Yeah. For the places I was found today, all the places we went, there was no violence, and what happened was that, except for one time, I think this morning I reported that was which the turnout there was full, and also when the feasible to the turnout wasn't encouraging. There were a lot of people who never turned up today, by the time we get to feasible, so feasible and fire, the turnout there was low. But for the rest of the time that we visited today, there was huge number of people who turned up in that number to go and cast their vote. But today, we didn't observe anything like election violence. Everything was peaceful. Everything went well for where I was assigned.
So you can confirm that voting has officially closed. Regarding this statement that came from the electoral commission chair, David Data Brown Lasana, about extension. So at the polling station where you are, you can confirm that voting has officially closed.
Yeah, voting have officially closed, but what they said was that those in the queue, they will permit them to vote, but 6 o'clock voting closed. So most of the places we went to by 6 o'clock, what happened? The security guards stood up behind the last person that was in the queue, so that nobody could stand again behind that person. That was the method they gave over.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter, for those updates. And then definitely be on standby to update us on any unfolding events. It's the 5th edition of Liberia Decides 2023. So we are continuing with our conversation. Terence, before we went on break, you made a statement and you said those who make most of the lawmakers make fake promises during elections, and when they get into the chamber, then they forget about the promises. So why don't we also look at it this way? What if they also encounter challenges? Because, before they get in, maybe the way they see it from when they are out and the way they see it, or the reality that is in the chamber, what if there is a difference?
You see, the whole thing is that that's the reason why you see that certain things, you don't really say out. And, most often,
right,
when you say some things, you have, but most of them want to say some things out there, and then they go contrary from what they say. That's what make more people to go against them. That's why you see more representatives, more senators don't go for 2 terms. It's difficult. It's difficult. Most of them, when they go for 6 years, after 6 years, they are out. Because, they don't really work according to, they don't really work according to that plan. So you always see that deficiency within the legislature. You see every election, you see a lot of changes. And during this election, you see almost like 60 or 70% of those who in the lower house gonna be replaced. Most of them are gonna be replaced.
Most of these lawmakers, they don't. The funds they use for development is not coming from their pockets. There are some coffers that they would have to pull those money from, and sometimes what if there are delays in allocation of funds, which warrants for their delay or not fulfilling their promises?
No, see, the system, Liberia system, Liberia democracy, and Liberia way of governing is different. Our system, we borrow democracy from, and we practice our democracy directly from the United States. You understand? So, if you look up most of the salary of our lawmakers, if you check around Africa, you check all the legislatures, salary, you will notice that our lawmakers take more salary than other countries. Check the record, check the statistic in Africa or West Africa as large. So, most often, you see, where some of them have the deficiency, most often you always notice that they will have problem in making the rightful law, because most of them aren't certified with what they receive, and that's the time you start seeing them passing a lot of undecent bills. You see, most bills that will be signed will not be in the interest of the people, and definitely you will not see any country going anywhere when the legislature who's going to sign a decent well bill for hate citizens, for the majority are going contrary. Definitely you see a lot of irregularity. You see a lot of things that will not really be in the interest of people. That's what you see most often. Our lawmaker want to empower. They want to do. They want to focus on themselves. Try to do their own things because they know that on the few sound minded lawmaker who think for the future, think for long time, think big. You always see them on path with their people. You always see them coming down, try to do things, coordinate, try to work, and try to see how best they can reconcile and they can be with their people.
Right. So talk about how they can reconcile with the people. Let's cross over again to Monrovia to speak to Grace Williams Joshua. Hello, Grace.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? How is the situation at your end?
Yeah, the process is going well so far. I'm at a polling precinct where their vote has started. They started counting votes already. Yeah.
Yeah, so can you confirm that voting has officially closed at your end? Because we understand some polling stations have extension.
Yeah, but from where I'm posted at the Gate St. High School on Central Monrovia, precisely on Capital Bypass, the polling precinct there is officially closed, and the counting of ballot paper has already started.
So who are those around there?
Yeah, there are few observers outside from where I'm posted. There are also observers that were excused from the room because, like some political parties have two persons observing. So if you have to allow one person in at a time and another person step out. So we have some of them outside. But I was in the room, actually. I was in the room.
All right. So looking at the picture you have painted to us now, does that mean the results from your end will be announced early?
Yeah, I was there when they entered the ballot box. They started counting one, but they have now officially turned it over to start counting for the presidential candidates.
All right, but I believe the process went peacefully without any incidents recorded.
So far, we have not. Well, only one incident we have with former running mates, so that of the main opposition, the Unity Party. Some allegedly bribed some people to have them vote for a representative candidate in Margibi County. So far, that's the only incident we have reported.
Right. So we had some coalition centers don't have some of the voters there, like it used to be in the past, where voters would wait to ensure that the results are collated before they leave the center. Is it the same situation at your end?
From where I'm sitting, there's no voter outside, only observers, the joint securities and observers. We have international observers and that of local observers all posted. They were polling rooms waiting for the result to be announced.
Right. Thank you very much, Grace, and do keep us posted on any unfolding events.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. So, Terence, you were making some valid points. You got to a point where you were separating those who pay attention to the citizens and those who don't. That is the lawmakers. So these lawmakers that you are talking about who pay attention to the citizens, they always walk on the path of what the people want. Why do you think they are different from those who don't pay attention?
Because they are different. Because the difference is that some of them understand the game. Some of them understand the game. Some of them upbringing, they understand the basis of politics.
So politics is really a game, right?
For sure, it's a game. You have to play smart. You have to know how to communicate with your people. Your communication skills, is very important, and your working relationship with your people is very important. So
if it is really a game, then Terence, where is democracy then?
Say?
if politics is really a game, then where is democracy?
No, because democracy, is the will of the people. Yeah. So, in getting the will of the people and in making in displacing things, you have to play smart. You will not be someone. You not be somebody who say days and you go by days, or you say that and you go with another stuff. You always found it difficult to get the attention of the people, but people lawmakers who speak on behalf of the people, who make law, who questions all the cabinet to do the rightful thing. These are lawmakers who will always be recognized. We always see them, and people always take them to be the best. So definitely you always see other lawmakers who don't got time to question other cabinet minister, who don't got time to make a perfect law for majority of the people. And you always see that deficiency in that lawmaking, where you always see some other lawmakers trying to put more effort for the interest of the people. So definitely that's the time when you're grading lawmakers, you will see the good from the bad.
Right. So talk about some of these developmental projects, talk about education, health, and the economy in general. Let's take this report by Peter Coley. So, as the desire for positive changes in sectors of the country and more is at the heart of every single voter or Liberian, just like yourself. So like other departments, Liberia's education sector has realized significant gains while contending with the emerging analysts in the country say understanding the gains realized and remaining challenges will enable policymakers and stakeholders to make informed decisions for further improvement. So Peter Coley, correspondent in Lofa County, takes a retrospective look at the sector in the last 5 years. Let's take a listen.
The education sector in Liberia faces a complex set of challenges related to rebuilding and recovery from the civil war constrained national finances and poor infrastructure. These challenges include poor learning outcomes, average enrollment, and huge number of out-of-school children, and wasted government resources attributed to the issues of unqualified and ghost teachers. Education in the country is challenging for primary students attending government schools due to inadequate and, in some cases, the lack of learning facilities. More parents prefer sending their kids to private school, which are often very expensive for the average Liberian. And indeed, the poverty rate is preventing thousands of students from acquiring higher education, thus increasing the number of unskilled young adults in the country. Some parents and students who spoke over the weekend, just as they prepare for the election, said the lack of finances in the country is causing them not to send their children to school. Others said the lack of teachers at public schools is causing their children not to attend, thereby becoming school dropout.
I'm not prepared because my parents are cry for money and follow work, no pay. Sometimes when you come home from work and you complain, I want to attend the Peterson school, but you said no, I will come back and you find money to put me in school.
How many of you that he has to send to school this year?
Only two.
So what you think can be done so that the situation will be good for you to go to school without maybe putting you out?
My auntie said she will help us to pay some of the school fees.
I came to register my son. This year the difficulty we are facing is money problem. Like before then, my children been attending the college foundation for long, and we were finding things easier because money was in the country. People were having late job to be doing a lot of time to take your children to school, and now it was not easy. But this time, no job, no money in the country. So it is only rest formula we are doing to our area, and where we can get money from to bring our children, because if we don't send them to school, it will be a problem for us tomorrow. So this is problem that we are facing in the country. It's getting so hard that, it's not easy. If you get one or two, if you have 2 or 3 children to send them to school, it's not easy on us. Well, maybe after election, maybe we're thinking that the country will change, because it will get a group person in a chair to maybe bring things down, or the process of things down. The school fee and all will go down, and they will be happy, continue with our children to go to school.
Regardless, Liberia has made significant progress in increasing access to education. Efforts such as the implementation of free primary education and awareness campaigns have led to a drastic increase in enrollment rate. More children, particularly girls and those from marginalized communities, are now attending school. The government consistently prioritizes expanding access to education, resulting in a significant reduction in the number of out-of-school children and improved enrollment rates at all levels. Policies promoting compulsory education and free education scheme have contributed to greater inclusivity. Also, considerable emphasis has been placed on improving the educational infrastructures in Liberia in the last 5 years. This includes the construction of new schools, renovation of existing buildings, and the provision of necessary equipment and facilities. Further studies show that under the administration of President George Weah, public universities and colleges are free of tuition for students who want to further their education.
Employment in terms of high school, junior high, and elementary, where senior high, minimum, you should have bachelor degree in education. Okay. If you have bachelor degree in, example, accounting, management, public administration, you should have a degree in education. So, and also masters. I always say minimum, you can have master. So you should have master in education, and that master, yes, if your payment for master is $525 gross United States dollars.
Students who are in primary schools ranging from 12th grade are not paying fees for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination.
Peter Coley in Lofa County there reporting. All right, so let's come back again. Terence, what do you make of the education sector in your country? What change do you yearn for?
Our education status in Liberia need more changes, especially when it comes to the issues of better environment and better laboratory technology, a lot of things, Like Peter Corley reporting from Lofa County. Mm-hmm. And Lofa County is at the northern part of Liberia, the share between Guinea and that of let's say Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So firstly, when you look at town, villages in all these areas, and you look at the road network, these are some of the factors. You will see that, poor education environment, unqualified teachers, and high logistic for education settles. You always find difficulty in this area, like the southeastern and Lofa. The only area you find a little bit, where you see more people in Liberia always like to send his or her kid to private institution. Because most of the government institutions, maybe you see sometimes like 7 to 8 or maybe 100 pupils in one class. Some people may not even have a good environment to acquire better education. So see that these are some of the areas we really need to look at with care and respect. Because, when we have a better education status, you will notice that, there will be a lot of improvement in every sector in Liberia. But if you look at it technically, you will notice that most stakeholders, top-ranking officials, always send his or her children out for the education. Because I think that, you know, if every lawmaker or every stakeholder have his or her children in Liberia going to school, they will improve the sectors.
Right.
They will improve the sector. Definitely will improve the sectors.
So, talk about they will improve the sectors. Dominic also mentioned about the health sector. So, with the health sector, you, of course, like I always say, you didn't grow up here. You came here for something, and then growing up back home, looking at how the health sector is, and then comparing it to now, what are some of the differences you can outline?
You say?
What are some of the differences you can outline growing up in Liberia before leaving to Senegal? Now, what are some of the differences you can outline?
No,
Do you see improvement?
No, you know, for the health sector in Liberia right now, you know, we have to be real to ourselves.
So before we even get to that, let's take this report is based on health. So over the past few years, Liberia has made significant strides in improving its healthcare system, yet hindered by various shades of challenges that demand both state attention and collective efforts. Among them, accessibility and affordability of health services by the Liberian population, many of whom live below the poverty line. Abraham Parker in Grand Bassa County takes us through Liberia's transformative agenda on the pursuit of universal health coverage despite the odds.
One major success of the health sector is its management of the Ebola outbreak in 2014 to 2016 under former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. But as remarkable as the effort, so was the scale of loss suffered. The viral disease killed no fewer than 4,800 people. The aftermath of that crisis will later form the base for a modern healthcare system, including the construction of new hospitals and clinics, renovation of existing facilities, and training of healthcare workers. The goal was to efficiently respond to future health crises. Now capacitated, Liberia was again tested for its resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic. Interestingly, health workers and the citizens pulled through because of the strengthened system. In collaboration, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention Country Director Dr. Rachel Aduro applause.
Liberia has done a lot to ensure that people have an opportunity to hear the right messages with respect to what keeps them safe. But Liberia is building on the health investments that were made before the pandemic. When Liberia found its way to overcome the Ebola epidemic from 2014 to 2016, they put into place the infrastructure that's needed to identify health threats as early as possible and fight them where they find them. The US CDC has invested specifically on ensuring that we have public health disease investigators available in every county, every district, who can locally respond to things that are happening among the community members.
But where does Liberia's chief medical officer, who doubles as the deputy health minister, Dr. Francis Kete, stand in telling the country's story, linking efforts made by George Weah's government in the health sector?
Our health system, the gains we've made, and it is important. In healthcare system, it's like jumping a high bar. Whenever you educate the people, they expect more. The more service you provide to them, the better they want. There are things we do better here than anywhere else. Who provide the key primary health services in this country? Nurses and PAs. And so these are the kind of things that we've done.
Also, the country has made considerable advances in reducing maternal and child mortality rates, to do health programs, training of midwives, and providing essential supplies. However, a recent report by UNICEF revealed at least 1,000 maternal deaths for every 100,000 births annually in Liberia. Cecilia Kpangbala Flomo is registrar of the Liberian Board for Nursing and midwifery.
There are prerequisites for becoming a nursing student, a midwifery student, because these people are the ones that are in majority with caring for our population. They are the most closest to the patient. It's very beneficial that we handle their production. The new process that was approved by the Liberian Board for Nursing and Midwifery is called the Students Indexing, and it's just the student track. Because nursing and midwifery is not a field where you go to play. We protect the public. We go further with that.
Well, this is the point. You heard about the challenges. The lack of well-equipped hospitals and clinics in rural Liberia hampers the delivery of quality healthcare services, resulting in disparities in access to healthcare. Here are some concerned Liberians.
The patient buys everything. They say it's free, you go to the pay 1,500 for a cesarean session. But you say it's free. Go buy paracetamol outside there. Go buy, you buy everything. The patient buy beside the bed. And maybe that one food they put in the patient, feeding the patient. I wonder if they can give it to that children, that amount of food for that children to be healthy. You see the food the sick patient eating in the hospital, you feel sorry for them. JFK is the worst.
People sick all around and nothing they're doing but it. The nurses they can take the drugs they carry to the houses then. They open drugs too. The people carry medicine. After 2 days, no drugs.
There is no doubt that the shortage of health professionals, inadequate training institutions, and low salary earnings are challenges the health sector faces. Some health workers, including technical persons, share their views on the matter.
There are a lot of things going on within the health system. I got sick Ebola time because while I was treating patients, I have passion for the job. I was in my community, going in community. Wherever I see sick person lying by the road or in the homes and they call me, I will go there and say, Jaconti, come. The other person is sick, the other person is going this way. Nobody wants to treat them because they're afraid of Ebola. Working in the system or sector, a lot of lapses.
Lack of staff quarters and transportation is a clear example. Ambulance service. We want the government to renovate and improve dilapidated facility across the country and to improve on staff quarters as well as transportation, to equip health facility with diagnostic equipment, effective and efficient ambulance service to the public.
Some people have been here with this opportunity to be given me as a chief driver for the Ministry of Health. I will kindly appeal to the president. The president should help make this salary for us because this is very sad that we, at the end of the month, we take $3,500, $3,690 that cannot even sustain our home.
As the struggle to revamp the country's health sector persists, incumbent George Weah has made efforts to improve the situation through the construction of the 14 military hospital, the Emirate Hospital in Wapolo County, and other community clinics around the country, the training of nurses and doctors, among others. Seeking re-election, Weah says health practitioners play an essential role in health delivery.
How we could help to enhance the health sector. Again, I want to commend you. I know the history because I live here with you. I know how dedicated you people are. I know how much you be working in a little environment. We have an opportunity now for all of us to fix it. Make sure that we have our fair share. Train more nurses, more doctors. It's important for our people. When you don't visit this area, you think it's all glittering.
Health experts have reiterated investment in infrastructure, boosting the workforce, improving accessibility, and strengthening data management as quick solutions to challenges faced by Liberia's health sector. Reporting for West Africa Democracy Radio from Grand Bassa County, I am Abraham Parker.
That was Abraham Parker reporting from Grand Bassa County of Liberia, and he took us through the health sector in the country. Right, Terence, you just heard that report.
Yeah, I listened to the report. I listened to all what he said. I listened to the views of some patients. I listened to the view of some health workers. We have to speak. We have to speak the truth, and we have to be real to ourselves. You know? Right. You see, Liberia have some codified, some codified health practitioners. They have some codified nurses, they have some codified PAs, some codified doctors. But our country, we don't really have equipment or material in order to take care of our patients. You see, there are other struggling mini clinic around. There are other mini institution, that meaning nursing school. Yeah, but there are other qualified nursing school with good professor and good practical know-how. But the nursing, the health worker salary, it's not something encouraging. So mostly you will see most people who work within the health sector, you start seeing them doing some other things in order to sustain themselves. They want to interview. I think listening to him, he said that when you go to the hospital, the only thing they can do is read a bag, and you have to buy your own paracetamol, you have to buy your own drugs, you have to do everything. Normally, when you go to a government entity, most of the things, everything that in budget through the Ministry of Health. So once you go there and you register and that is a government facility, I think you have to you have to receive it. It's an entitlement as a citizen. You have to receive whatsoever that the nurses prescribe. But you will find it more difficult. You will see other private pharmacy, around the area. People will direct you to where to go get these things. All this stuff is corruption. All these things, is part. All the things when you look at it technically, it's a bad practice. It's a bad practice. We really help and we really improve our health sector. But like we got Google and qualified nurses. But if people if people say that all of international panel or maybe interviewers said that we have a good health sector. Well, with our government official, we're traveling out of the country to go for medical checkup.
Right. Talk about going for medical checkup. Let's take James Koyo, CSO on anti-corruption. That is what he represents. Hello, James. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, and thanks for having me this evening.
Right. And thank you for joining us. How is the atmosphere like in your place? Are you at one of the coalition centers, or you are at home observing from afar?
Yeah, so actually, around today we visited a few centers, and also we visited the youth situation room that has been organized by the Federation of Liberian Youth, collecting data from across the country. But however, I'm home now, and everything is relatively calm. And today was very peaceful and a huge turnout in terms of voters coming from across the country to vote.
Right. So, how was voting overall? How was voting at your end?
Yeah. So, like I said, I visited a few centers in two of the districts.
Okay.
Yeah. So, people turn up very early, especially for first-time voters. The enthusiasm is there, the energy, and most especially we were all concerned about peaceful participation, and that today there have not been any report of violence, so we can say that the elections were marked by free and peaceful participation at this stage. As we speak, the vote is being counted, it's been tabulated across the different voting areas across the country. So reports have not started coming in yet. But everything is calm. We have a very huge international observation mission from across the AU, the ECOWAS, the EU, the USAID, and other international bodies, ECOWAS and all the persons. So we believe that the person was relatively, I can say, well observed, and we look forward to the results coming from the county of the ballots.
Right. So you belong to a CSO that is on anti-corruption. So would you say that today you voted for a candidate that would come and then fight corruption in your country, especially when corruption is on the high?
Yes, definitely. I, as a citizen, it's my constitutional right to vote, and we have always pushed that Just last week, we issued a statement calling Liberians not to vote for corrupt persons, and also most especially those who were recently designated under the U.S. Magnitsky Act, and also not to vote for those who were involved with the warlords. We maintain that we voted actually for someone we believe that over the years have proved to be someone who is transparent. So definitely, it's someone who is new, who have not tested political powers though. But we believe that with their track record in public service, we believe that they can come up for corruption. So we hope that person we voted for can win, and we can have a paradigm shift as it relates to the fight against corruption in Liberia.
Right. So recently, President Weah suspended some officials, including his chief of staff and the country's chief prosecutor earlier this month over corruption allegations tied to multi-million-dollar contracts and at least $1.5 million in diverted public funds. Is this step in the right direction? Do you see it that way?
Yes, I think suspending suspending as well as sacking public officials is good. But we have put more emphasis on persecution, because those who steal public money must be able to face the full weight of the law. So it shouldn't be like you steal and you can go home and rest. We believe that we expected more of that. And on the other hand, much have not been done as it relates to supporting public institutions. National anti-graft institutions have been paralyzed. They have not been fully supported to adequately fight corruption, especially we refer to it as systemic corruption. So I would say it's just like 25% towards the fight. We believe that if someone is involved in the corruption, definitely they must face the full weight of the law. Justice must prevail. We have not seen that in this under the regime of President George Weah.
Right. So in its 2021 Corruption Perceptions Index, the watchdog Transparency International ranked Liberia 136th out of 180 countries. You, as you that belongs to CSO, that is fighting corruption, because it's an anti-corruption CSO. How did we reach here, especially when civil society organizations like yours existed or exist in the country? How did we reach to this level from 136 out of 180?
Yeah, so quite frankly, Liberia have not been able to make or score significant marks as it relates to the Transparency International Perception Corruption Index. But however, I want to say that, like I said, the issue of weak systems, the perception of a corruption is very high, especially looking at different sectors, from public procurement, looking at security sector, and almost every sector. The issue of bribery is something right now that is generally accepted. People see it as a way of life. People see it that you will bribe your way through for everything and every processes and procedures for you to benefit from. So we also see services that should be free, or people have to pay for it. They have to bribe. So generally, if you ask an ordinary Liberian, they will tell you that corruption is very high. It is based on that perception. TI issued their report. And like I said earlier, much have not been done by the WADR-led administration to fight corruption. We have not had a case where government won a corruption case, and especially issue of restitution. Government have not been able to recover assets lost to corruption. In 2019, the government set up an assets recovery team, and that team did not even last for a year. It was disbanded and just dissolved with all no concrete or achievement. So it was waste of state resources as well. And currently, as we speak, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the government number one statutory institution responsible to fight corruption, is not effective. They have been struggling with leadership. There was a new act that decided to amend the current act of the LACC that saw it dismantling the entire leadership, and today we don't have a clear leadership structure at the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. Some things that undermines the fight against corruption very highly. So when Kia come up with the report, these are some of the issues they look at, and I want to say that corruption is working on the street in Liberia.
Right. So now, as we round off, before I let you go, corruption, like you said, is on the high, and if we should even conduct a survey today, we would find out that mistrust is so high among the population. So, as a CSO that is fighting corruption in the country, in some few days, the winner of this election will be announced, and we have a new leader, or would have a leader governing the country. What would be your recommendation for the new government?
I believe that I will give the two scenario answers to that. Firstly, if President Weah is retained, if he's re-elected, I believe that more emphasis should be placed on structural issues, especially providing clear support in strengthening national integrity institutions like the LACC, like the General Auditing Commission, like the Public Procurement and Concession Commissions. They need to be fully funded to adequately perform their statutory responsibility and duties. With that, we'll be able to fight corruption in the system. We need a presidential will. And also, if we have the presidential will with the president, we will need a political will to fight. That has to do with the legislature, passing laws that will support the fight against corruption, as well as a very independent judiciary system to fight corruption. Because if cases go to court and people walk free, then there's no need to fight. And if we have a new president, I believe that it's very important that the new president can adequately set the agenda for the clear fight against corruption, not bringing families into government, not bringing past officials we know that are corrupt into government, is something that's going to be very key. As an anti-corruption institution, like as an integrated civil society institution, we're going to be watching very closely those who will be newly appointed in government to be able to critique them when they get appointment before confirmation. So these are things that we put in place to be able to put the new government under the microscope to ensure that people that comes to the governance of our state are people with integrity that can help to fight corruption in our country.
Right. Thank you very much, James, for your time.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being on your network this week.
Right, and then thank you, Terence, for being with us here in the studio. And this is where time would permit us on the 5th edition of Liberia Decides 2023. I am Tawfiq Abdul Nasir. Many thanks to the production team and Maudu Jov and Sek for the technical assistance.
This is the live coverage of the general elections in Liberia.